It's a response video to Nick, I guess, on the subject of this meme evolution stuff. The idea, I guess, I don't know why we have to have words for all this stuff. It'd be nice if we just stuck with saying things like cultural norms or ideas. But I guess since we have to talk about all of them, we have to call them something, and so we call them this memes thing. But anyway, yeah, their evolution. It is. I think it's more complicated. Obviously, everything's always more complicated, but ideas obviously are evolving. But you could just say our knowledge base as humanity is evolving over time. The question is what are the selecting forces? There is a selection taking place. Could call it a natural selection, but it's kind of unnatural, since we as the players are involved in it. For us, it's not. It's hard to imagine it as being as mechanical or outside of our control. I agree that it is as a factual matter. As a practical matter, we're not going to feel that in any way. We're going to feel like we're actively participating in construction, and that we're not simply playing a part. But we've discussed that. I mean, we are just playing our part. We're just role playing, so to speak. There's a script written and we're reading the script. We just don't realize that's what we're doing. So anyway, I just think it's important to stress like what factors are controlling that evolution. And some of it has to do with the fact that we just get smarter, and so the conversation starts to accept some of that knowledge as truth, and then it has a different conversation than when that wasn't a truth. So science has evolved based on gleaning certain truths out of the environment and being able to build an understanding, and so it's evolved. Cultures are evolving in a different, there's different forces. It isn't about truth with culture. Certainly it's about what just gains this thing called momentum, or whatever you want to call it, circumstantial momentum, and ideas and concepts become part of that. And then there's certain technology introduced, like television or something, that obviously changes what pop culture gets defined as, because it allows different individuals to play a part in the mix. It's kind of like the difference you get in a democracy when you have just men voting versus or just property owners, and then you allow women and blacks and others to start voting, and so you're going to have a different politics when you do that. And so obviously technology has changed the conversation, and so the definitions become changed, and what parts of the population accept or promote or reproduce or mimic what ideas, concepts, norms. But the root is still going to be the breeding population. What happens to the newly born? What percentage go which way? Under which control? And we sort of know that people are born into their philosophy largely in the world, and so that's a real controlling factor. Born into their culture. They don't choose one. So culture doesn't have the hope of being more rational. Until an individual, say, is wise enough, even accidentally through their culture, to acquire enough wisdom to start questioning what these norms are that they have accepted, these memes, and to start weeding out the stupid ones and attempting to acquire better ones. But yeah, there's a force. There's forces involved, and unfortunately, a lot of the forces are negative forces. I mean, you've got momentum, and you've got conditioning that's controlled by who you're born to, largely. Who your parents are really going to dictate how your brain starts off and what potential it's going to have. And then that's just a sad fact. And so it's not just about some sort of competition that's gleaning the best out of us necessarily, but there's a mixture of competitions. I mean, different things are competing under different rules. So I would argue that our total knowledge base as a species is evolving by a finer and more refined set of rules. How we're evolving as a conditioned organism, as the ape, yeah, it's under a different set of rules, and they're a lot less conducive to getting the best human being. It's not really about the best human being, it's about the best consumer and reproducer still. And so those are the positives and the negatives, but I'm just saying there's more to it than just some sort of simple equation where it's all being controlled by culture, or there's again, just that, as there are different things competing in our brain, different personalities, there are different controlling social factors that everybody's going to be exposed to, and that are going to have different influences, and just the depth of exposure is going to influence what they end up being, what meme they end up attempting to reproduce in the society. And obviously we can reproduce ideas by talking about them. We don't have to actually give birth to them, and we can cycle them that way, and we can promote them that way. But it's all whose mouth it comes out of becomes important. What meme will dominate will be largely decided by which ones come out of whose mouth. And that's another stupid imbecility of the whole thing. But so I'd say, like I said, there's the positive that the knowledge base is evolving by a standard, but then there's the negative that the cultures are evolving by a stupid standard. It's really just what ideas, what parents, give birth to the most new individuals to accept their norms. So anyway, that's my take on it as far as it goes. The end.